Hello, my name is Zelthius. This is Shopkeep's Log. I am your fuzzy creature shopkeeper for the Dainsleif Retro Tech and Arcade Shop, and I think I only stumbled in the intro a little bit there, which is awesome because I usually mess that up. I'm not in VR today, um, like I was last time. I'm still dealing with kidney stone, and suiting up is a bit of a hassle that I'd rather not while I'm like this. Um, I forgot if I said this one's going to be a little bit shorter, probably in the neighborhood of like 10 minutes, if that. I do have a quick little announcement to kind of sort of get out of the way, and that is that September 3rd, 2025 at 2 p.m. Central, I'll be participating in a interview live on somebody else's stream. I'll have the details for that posted on my Discord. I'll try to remember to link that in the description area down in that spot on the web page. My brain is a little frazzled because lack of sleep and it just being the end of a long day. But I'm excited for tomorrow. We're still planning on doing the normal stream, but again, I'll keep everybody updated in the Discord about that. It's just the easiest way to communicate everything to everyone in the community. Um, of course, it's not a requirement to join that. I'll try and post like schedules and updates where I can when I can. But keeping on top of all of the socials as an indie creator is honestly a little difficult. I wouldn't be surprised that if it were a little rough for corporate uh, creators in this space, or more like organized groups that are less indie esque, I guess. That's kind of an interesting thing to think about, actually. I wonder what the line for some people is on indie versus corporate. Like in the VTuber community, there's a bit of like discussion about that kind of stuff. Like if you belong to a group but you're still an independent creator, like you don't have a organization, as it were. You're in my opinion an independent creator. But some people would say that if you have like a talent manager or something, even if you're not representing an organization, that like disqualifies you from the independent pool. I don't know about that. It's something I try not to think about too much because, well, not think about too much because obviously I've given it thought, but like it's something that I tend to not engage with as much because I try to avoid that kind of heated discussions. I'm not one to have heated discussions. I'm very much so sit and chill and talk about whatever kind of person. And slowly I'm warming up to the concept that it's acceptable to talk about subjects that normally would embroil a heated discussion, but as long as we keep it cool and everybody understands that we're just philosophizing, discussing our opinions and that kind of stuff, and that there's no okay. In order to kind of explain what I mean, that I'm not the kind of person who tries to sway someone's opinion one way or the other. And if I make an attempt, it's usually just a joke. Like I'm just like pestering somebody for the fun of it. I'm not being serious about it. I'm just generally a big advocate of coming to your own conclusion. I think that being able to do that is a very important skill. And the reason why I say that is because I've been in so many situations where I wasn't exactly given the best information to make my choices with, and looking back, I can see now that while I was doing the best with the information that I had, that the information I had later would have changed how I did things. And that's an entirely other can of worms, but generally speaking, I think it's important for you to come to your own conclusions on anything. And as long as that's just the general sentiment of we're not trying to convince anybody one way or the other, we're just sharing information. I'm willing to have those kinds of conversations. I don't like arguing with people. I'm pretty non-confrontational, and I try to stay out of that kind of stuff as much as I possibly can. It's kind of a weird topic to be talking about, but it's we're in stream of consciousness mode right now. I'm just saying whatever comes to mind, whatever happens happens. I think that this is this is helping to confront some notions that have been long since established in my head. This whole Shopkeep's log thing, the stream of consciousness discussions, because I have that urge in my head of this is a dangerous topic to talk about, the concept that one should make their own conclusions of the information that they have and take literally everything with a bit of a grain of salt. Because everybody has their own, perspectives on stuff. Some people will notice certain details that other people miss. But like the alarm bell is like this is a dangerous topic to be discussing because people get very passionate about it. Um, it could be misinterpreted. It could be this, that, any number of negative connotations to a conversation of this nature. And like that's to the point where like I'm tripping over my own words. I can't I can't properly express myself because of that anxiety in my head of talking about stuff that you think about as a bad thing. People don't like that. People don't like to engage with that kind of stuff. But I don't think that's true. I think that people want to engage more genuinely with each other. I hope that's the case. I want for there to be genuine human connection between everybody in the community, everybody at large. And I realize that's very grandiosely optimistic. But I know what it's like to not be understood and to have everything that you say just kind of be on that line of did my intent make it across? And it really sucks to have that anxiety. I don't I don't want for anybody to be misunderstood. And I think first step into achieving that understanding is just being genuine and authentic, letting those kinds of thoughts and discussions happen despite how anxiety inducing it can be. This one's probably not going to be popular with a lot of people, and I get that. I'm just spouting a whole bunch of nonsense, but that's just how it is. Anyway, before I go completely off the rails and just yap about absolute nonsense, I'm gonna go ahead and end things off here. Thank you so much for sitting and hanging out. If you made it this far into the video, I appreciate your willingness to hear me out on stuff. I'm just a fuzzy creature trying to be their authentic self on the internet. And I realize that some people aren't going to like that, but who knows? Maybe I'll find other like minded people out there. So if you find this kind of content and this kind of discussion to be interesting, I don't know where I was going with that, to be perfectly honest, but uh, I'd love to have conversations about things. Nothing, rule breaking, of course, but I definitely want to understand other people's viewpoints on things better. Anyway, I'll see you all in the next one. I apologize, I was a little more like scatterbrained today. Um, like I said, real bizarre day and a lot of stuff going on. Anyway, I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye.